Hi, everybody. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another crypto webinar. It's good to see a lot of people joining already. And thank you to everyone who's joining and who's attended our previous webinars. It's always great to learn into more of the ever-changing crypto industry and seeing how everything changes every day. So today we'll be looking into some general insights of cryptocurrency. And we'll be looking into some of the advantages and disadvantages of the currency, as well as identifying the differences between crypto and e-commerce. So hopefully we can clear up any questions you might have related to the benefits and like how the transactions are benefited using crypto. So we'll go and start off here. So cryptocurrencies have proven that digital assets can have a true value to them. So cryptocurrency is a digital asset designed to work as a medium of exchange wherein individual coin ownership records are stored in a ledger existing in a form of computerized database using the strong cryptography to secure transaction records and to control the creation of additional coins and to verify transfer of coin ownership. So they have really been a big pioneer in showing that things that even though they're not tangible and they're not something you can hold in your hand necessarily, they do hold value and they are a absolutely valid reason and means of processing transactions and stuff like that. It shows that there is something behind that digital asset. So cashless economy, is society ready for transformation? What is a cashless economy? You've probably heard a term thrown away around a lot lately, but it's a system where no physical cash is in circulation in a cashless system. So payments are made through credit and debit cards, bank electronic fund transfers, or virtual wallets. So this cuts out any means of physically transporting money, any fiat currencies like that, where you're able to, it's tangible, it's able to be reproduced or replicated or anything like that. It's completely virtual and electric based. So the relation between cashless economy and crypto. So we'll go and look at here. So the cost reduction, which is a big thing. So the cashless system brings down the cost of associated with printing, storing, and transporting the money. The risk reduction. So the risk of money getting stolen or lost is slim to none, very minimal. Even if the card is stolen or lost, it is easy to block a credit or debit card or a mobile wallet remotely. Such as when, let's say, you misplace your debit card or something, you can log into your application, your bank app, and just push a button and it won't be able to be used. So it's also safer and easier spending option while traveling. So wherever you go, pretty much anyone is going to accept a card. Cash, sometimes, you must have exact change, or, if you lose a wallet or something like that, or some money gets damaged, if you have that card, it's always going to be able to work fine. So it's very convenient. The ease of conducting financial transactions is probably the biggest motivator to go digital. With the advent of digital modes, one can avoid queues for ATMs, transact 24/7 and save time. Additionally, for service providers with emergence of eKYC, it is no longer necessary to know your customer physically, as the payment model has overcome limitations related to physical presence. So it's the convenience of it, and it's a no-brainer when it comes to things like that. So increase in the containment of parallel economy. So what that means is in a cashless economy, it is easier to track the black money and illicit transactions, unlike cash-based economy, in which money does not come into the banking system. So in cases of digital transactions, it is easier to track and monitor suspicions, transactions, and all the records are available with the banks. So increase in the tax base. So traders, small business, shopkeepers, and consumers who regularly use cash as a means of to avoid paying service tax, sales tax, etc. So in a cashless economy, however, where all the transactions will be done through organized channel, through banks and financial institutions, they can be monitored by the government and proper actions can be taken against the evaders. So tracking spends. Spending done through mobile or computer applications can easily be tracked with a simple click. This allows users to keep track of all of their spending and manage their budget effectively. So financial inclusion. At present, India's low-income households, for example, access credit through informal systems, so through relatives or private lenders. Forcing them to shift to cashless payment platforms instantly formalizes the world of informality to them and include them in a formal economy. So it's a really big, huge thing for financial inclusion. And discounts. So a lot of e-commerce websites offer big incentives in terms of discounts and cashback and loyalty points to customers making digital transactions and for using cards to shop online. So you'll see discounts and stuff like that online for using your card. So how cryptocurrency works. So the flexibility. So yours is the only input you will ever provide to the system. The mining hardware. So the mining PC you set up with your one-time investment, whether that be a Bitcoin miner or you heard about the GPU mining or something like that. Once you set it up once, it's your one-time investment. So the cryptocurrency, the mining hardware generates the cryptocurrency. It solves those algorithms and problems. And kind of the byproduct of it is those cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin mining, or Ethereum. And fiat currency, the cryptocurrency can be exchanged for a fiat currency using services of dedicated exchanges. So you see these on like the App Store, you see them on Google Play and stuff like that, where you can you get that cryptocurrency and you're able to pretty much transfer it to cash instantly, and you're able to pull that out whenever you want. So blockchain and crypto, it knows no gender bounds. So cryptocurrency transactions are processed and recorded by peer-to-peer networks. So not any one individual bank. So without any bias based on gender, country, population, and other factors, a group of total strangers work together to secure a global digital currency and payment system without any intervention or intervening of an authority, which is technologically astounding. So there's no median or middleman there to dictate transaction speeds or fees or anything like that. So it's there for just a peer-to-peer network, one person to the other. Again, I've mentioned this before, you don't even need to necessarily like the person to have that transaction take place. So how does a transaction happen over crypto? The technology behind crypto functioning as blockchain is so the public ledger that keeps the records of all prior Bitcoin transactions. These data units and blocks use cryptographic validation to link. I'm so sorry, 1 minute. Sorry about that little technical difficulty we had there. Something was up with the slide. So I'm going to go and resume back from where does a transaction happen over crypto. The technology behind crypto functioning, it's blockchain. So a blockchain is a public ledger that keeps records of all prior Bitcoin transactions. These data units or blocks use cryptographic validation to link themselves together. The entire network is used to monitor and verify both the creation of native tokens through mining and the transfer of tokens and coins between users. So that's basically just a very cut and dry way of how a transaction occurs. Once that is submitted, it's then authenticated, and those funds are then transferred after a consensus has been reached. So how cryptocurrency works, the transaction is requested from the node. It is broadcasted then to the network, which is needs to be verified and recorded for the transaction. And once that information gets added to the block on the existing blockchains, the transaction approves. So from stage 1 to stage essentially 5, there is a lot of things that go on throughout that network that has to be recorded. And once that goes through and that block is added, it is immutable, which means it is unable to be changed and altered. So some of the advantages of blockchain and of cryptocurrency. So as a decentralized currency, cryptocurrency cannot be manipulated by the government and central authorities of any country. So also because of its decentralized nature, it is inflation averse. So it can't be manipulated or it can't be altered in any way because there's no one person that controls it. So unlike bank transactions, cryptocurrency transactions are completely anonymous, and a person can only know the addresses of crypto on which the payment has been sent and received. But to whom those addresses belong to cannot be identified. So this anonymity feature offers a security against fraud and identity theft. It is very useful, making sure that your transactions go through securely and you don't have any issue regarding somebody coming in the middle or trying to be scamming out of it, nothing like that. But so due to the dramatic rise in popularity among the masses, it is gaining wide acceptance as a payment method. As we talked before, it is becoming more and more popular and being even rewarded for people using it. The fee for crypto transactions is actually very low compared to other digital transactions such as credit cards and other modes. So you're able to send hundreds of thousands of dollars for really short amount of money. And that especially shines, as we'll talk about later, in international transfers, where sometimes there's holding and the fees can be really high. So the mechanism behind crypto generation is highly complex, which prevents really any duplication or the capability of creating fake currency. So with there being that set supply and there being those authenticating nodes and public ledger and everything like that, it's all able to be tracked, and it's very hard to duplicate or fake. So some of the disadvantages, which we do have to talk about, with crypto being relatively new an application and people still learning about it every day. A lot of people are skeptical and cautious. So it's important to understand that it is a highly volatile nature. So huge prices changes can happen over a short period of time. Of crypto it poses a serious question to consider it as a future currency. So with it being an ever-changing market, it may not hold as much of a consistent value as, say, like the US dollar or like the British pound, where most all the time you have that $1, you can go buy something worth $1. So with government of different countries having different attitude towards crypto and considering it a legal tender, people unaware of it and people unfamiliarized with it consider it to be risky, which is absolutely completely understandable. It's still very new, as I said, and compared to other fiat currency, the unfamiliarity with the operation and application leaves many wary. So it's something that just kind of comes with the territory. The anonymous nature of crypto transactions attract a large usage for illegal and illicit activities, such as tax evasion, weapons procurement, gambling. You've seen it where many of the biggest dark web marketplaces use crypto as a form of payment. such as now like the removed Silk Road, where there was drugs being sold and you can buy weapons and stuff like that. So it might raise a red flag for a lot of people. So crypto transactions are irreversible, and that is by design and by its nature. So funds sent to the wrong address cannot be traced back as a result, and loss of all the transferred money. So with that, it's not like Amazon where you can cancel an order, and once you send that payment, you got to be confident that it's going to the right address and it's going where you intend it to. So if the storage device in which cryptocurrencies are stored gets damaged or lost, then the lost Bitcoins or any other crypto cannot be recovered by any means. This actually brings up kind of a story that happened a few years ago of the Gizmodo editor who accidentally threw away a hard drive containing over 7,500 Bitcoin, which is now worth around $87 million. And it's just one of the stories that comes out of the crypto world, because it's like the Wild West of currency. So cases of hacking and online manipulation of cryptocurrencies, such as Mt. Gox in Japan, Bitfloor Make, and etc., make it more risky. So there's been, currencies and holders that have been hacked into, and those coins have been stolen. And it's again, they're not able to be tracked. So here's some things here. Transparency. All the transactions that take place on a public ledger are visible to others. Worldwide payment. So especially in terms of international transfers, as mentioned earlier, you can transfer high amounts of money for very low fees. And that makes it very appealing for people to create funds, businesses, transfers, stuff like that, supplies and whatnot. So the high privacy, there being no middleman, it's directly from one user to another. So that's, it cuts out anyone on the inside being able to track or view or see anything, especially on a public ledger. It being visible actually brings a degree of privacy to it. Excuse me. So the security insured, this kind of goes along with the fraud protection, which we'll talk about shortly. But security being insured, it just shows that, it's very secure. You don't have a chance of duplication of the currency and stuff like that. So with the low fees, which goes along with the worldwide payment, no intermediaries are taking their cut or fees. So you see things like PayPal or banks where they take out, you may send $100 and they take out $5, or you go to transfer a large amount, and unless you're, even some you can't transfer, you must transfer a certain amount of money before you're able to send it. So you have to transfer a minimum amount. So for the fraud protection, transactions must be authorized through joint consensus, or in terms of a private ledger, a few select nodes. So this goes with the privacy, this goes with the security, and even the transparency. So with them all, fraud protection, they have to be authorized. You're not going to have just one person viewing the transaction at any time. So e-commerce, this is what we mentioned in the beginning. It stands for electronic commerce, which includes basically just buying and selling of products over the internet or online services. So anything that's not in person. Electronic commerce or e-commerce may be defined by 5 activities. So there's commerce, collaboration, communication, connection, and computation. So the new situation brought on by the coronavirus crisis, for example, could bring about the use of digital currencies over the medium, or definitively erase them from the horizon, which could be, a big thing. So, but as with all technologies, being up to date with current trends is the most important thing in order to adapt your strategy quickly and gain a competitive advantage over the competition. So this might bring in some skepticism for some people. They just want to be able to transfer and conduct their business with no issue. But if you're able to stay above the curve, it will pay off, of course, in the end for you. So the e-commerce market is expected to hit 4.9 trillion by 2021. And we can see that, especially with a lot of people staying home and stuff like that, people are buying stuff online. So, it can even be more than that. The digital marketplace is growing, and the future belongs to the businesses that can stay ahead of the curve. So the people who do put in the work, put in the research, and spend the time and the effort learning and investing into it, they're definitely going to reap the benefits in the future. And they already are. So crypto assets it makes exciting time for e-commerce merchants that are prepared for the next generation of customers. So with more and more people buying things online, in physical stores, it's hard to compete when you have services online that, it's cheaper and you can have it sent to your door and stuff like that. So the crypto assets, though, especially, are making it going to make it a lot easier, especially with transferring that money. So traditional payments mean slow business, and this is 100% true in the fact of businesses can now move at the click of a button, but that money does not operate at the same speed. So traditional payment methods are very slow, and they only work during banking hours, and which means that payments can take several days to clear. So this is compounded even more by international sales. So while e-commerce is global and instant, the payments are not. So you can notice sometimes you'll pay for something online and it won't be processed till the next day, or you'll see where you buy something and you don't see that money taken out until the bank is open the next day or something like that. You can't even go to some ATMs and pull out only a certain amount of money from the ATM if the bank is closed. So some have a limit of like $600 where that's all you can pull out for that day until the bank opens the next. But with those traditional payments being slow, having that currency and that cryptocurrency, being able to send that directly, and that peer-to-peer thing comes into play again, where you're sending it from one person to another. There's no intermediary. Once that thing is authorized, it's sent to you, no issues. So some of the differences between cryptocurrency and e-commerce, it's floated and not tied to a dollar. So that money is not directly hinging on the price of that dollar and what happens to it. It is decentralized, so there's no intermediary bank or anyone taking their cut or being in the middle of that. And the behavior is backed by military grade cryptography and not by contracts. So it is all digital and not by just word of mouth kind of thing where you write on contracts or signatures or anything like that. It's all based on the technology. So you get another e-commerce like PayPal where it's not decentralized. They do take their cut of whatever you pay for. It is pegged to the dollar. So if you have $1 and say $100 in PayPal, that's what it will be able to buy you. And depending on what happens to that money, from there you can kind of see where it goes. But behavior is backed by a contractual relationship with a corporation. So a corporation meaning, in essence, one person making a decision, one big business making a decision for the consumers. Whereas the decentralized nature of crypto it's very pro-consumer in the fact of, it is directly for them, tied to them, and authorized by them. Everyone who uses it contributes to it, and they might not even realize it. So major retailers dive into crypto. We talked about this a little bit earlier, where you kind of see a lot of different websites, especially adapting and adopting the use of cryptocurrency as a form of payment. And it's not surprising to see both consumers and merchants are turning to cryptocurrency payments. They are faster, they're cheaper, and they're more efficient payment solution. We've already seen major online merchants beginning on board with the cryptocurrency payments. So some of the most well-known ones are like Overstock.com, which you can buy products and electronics and stuff like that on. Expedia, which is used as like a booking service for hotels. Etsy, which you can buy handmade items, or you can buy one-of items from merchants all around the world. And Microsoft, which everyone knows. They all accept digital currencies for their goods and services. And there's more out there, and there's more to come, especially. So the next evolution in payments. While it may not seem so, online payments have gone through a massive evolution over the last few years, and the innovation has always come from advancing needs of retailers and customers. So it's ever changing, it's always advancing, and new technologies are being implemented to make things easier and make things go quicker and whatnot. Online payments may have started by mailing a physical check from buyer to seller, but merchants and customers have evolved at a rapid rate. Online payments used to be you send over the money in a PWE, which is a plain white envelope, or you write a check and send it. There's money orders, which is another one. Things like Western Union, stuff like that. But now you just are able to scan a card and it be directly placed into that person's bank, which is huge. And even that's just something that we've been accustomed to. But with now cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, it's not even going to the bank, it's going directly in the wallet. The gap between businesses and the growing crypto community is rapidly bridging. By bringing merchants and customers together into one powerful crypto payments ecosystem, which is governed by trust, the world is really making a leap to mass adoption and bringing virtual assets to e-commerce. And I think it's important for consumers and customers to realize, to understand that it is in their best interest to build a trust, with where they're buying from. And when they buy a product, they want to be able to receive it on time. They don't want to wait for someone's else bank to send them the money or it be on hold. Stuff like this. This is all, it's based on trust and it's instant, and it's something that is very healthy for the market. So where does cryptocurrency come in? It can be leveraged to make online payments more secure. It can be used as an alternative form of payment, alongside traditional fiat transactions. And this conjunction of industries can be seen as a way to facilitate cross-border trade, keep customer identity safe from theft, and reduce transaction times. So with cryptocurrencies and wallets and stuff like that, you just have a Bitcoin, you have, for example, a Bitcoin address or just a string of numbers and letters in which that money comes from and is sent to. You don't have a picture of your face, you don't have a name, you don't have stuff like that. The reduced transaction times, again, there's no intermediary there taking their sweet time to facilitate those funds. And the cross-border trade, able to be sent to any country, whenever, however, is very important, as some forms of payment are not accepted in all places of the world. And also the use of cryptocurrency represents the facilitation of the movement of money with comparatively low transaction costs. So thanks to blockchain technology as the underlying infrastructure, crypto holds up not only to the power of providing logistical capabilities, but also remove any intermediaries, thus reducing the administrative charges and increasing the data security. So this is important in the fact of, providing an infrastructure, holding that power, and being able to remove the people in the middle. So that increases the security, removes the extra charges. So that's a big benefit there. So we'll look at the crypto taxes here. This is a topic that a lot of people might have, they hear where, if a big spike in that money and a cryptocurrency happens, are they going to get taxed on that money? Where is that, part of that money going to go? Is it all going to go directly to the person? How is that all going to work? So big question is, do you pay taxes on crypto? So according to the IRS, the official guidance on crypto taxation is that crypto is taxed as property, which is just a fancy way of saying that it's taxed like a stock. So if you buy Bitcoin and hold it for more than a year, you pay long-term capital gains when you sell. So that's the answer to a lot of people's question of, do you pay the taxes and stuff like that? But again, that's if you hold it for longer than a year, and depending on how it changes and stuff like that. Let's see here. So for crypto earners looking to estimate how much they're going to pay for their taxes, there's some platforms with a free crypto tax calculator. They integrate with major crypto exchanges and wallets and allow you to import your crypto transaction data and start calculating your taxes for free. So some of them also integrate with leading tax filing software, which you may have heard of, like TurboTax and stuff like that. Another thing with the tax thing is you might have heard, as it is taxed as a property, you might have heard some people about moving to Malta, which is an interesting thing. It's frequently referred to as Blockchain Island, believe it or not, because the tax there is substantially less than other parts of the world. And that crypto hub is also home to the resident Adam Back, which we talked about a little bit last presentation, where he's the cypherpunk who was cited in the Bitcoin white paper. So he moved there obviously because he had a lot of money and stuff like that, and it's not taxed as heavy. So calculating tax on cryptocurrency transactions, as cryptocurrencies become more popular and their adoption rises, governments worldwide are ramping up their efforts to tax them. So like any government, of course, they need their part. They want their little chunk in there. So this also goes back to staying ahead of the curve and staying, with the times and seeing that popular. Obviously, they are going to be taxed a little more, or at least they're going to try to. So for crypto owners who want to calculate how much they owe in taxes, as we talked, there are many tax preparation platforms with a crypto tax calculator to help them minimize their tax liabilities and claim all the deductions as possible. So even like paying taxes on pay stubs and stuff like that, there's services out there to help you to be able to get the most of your money, which is what everyone wants, of course. So most online crypto tax calculators require you to import your transaction data from your exchanges or your wallets in order to calculate your tax obligations. So if you do plan on doing that, be prepared to have that information available. I'm not a tax expert, but it does help the process go, and especially having an organized list and file for everything helps you get the most of your money. So cryptocurrency as a property. So since 2014, the IRS has considered cryptocurrency to be property. Taxpayers are required to report transactions involving virtual currency as US dollars on their tax returns, which means they must determine its fair market value as of the transaction date. So it's only when that transaction occurs. It's not based on that current day when those taxes are being filed. So the International Revenue Service, or the IRS, has decreed that these assets are not currency and not securities either. They are property. So more like a shopping mall than like $100 bill, where they have stores in it that make money, not necessarily money itself physically. So in computing a gain or loss, you can use as your starting point the basis of an asset, tax lingo for your original purchase price, after occasionally, some adjustments. So depending on that, you gain or lose a little bit. You lose on your starting price of that basis of an asset. So it is released on a new form of the 2019 tax years. The Schedule 1 now includes the following phrase above Part 1, additional income. And I saw this on mine when I was looking at it. At any time during 2019, did you sell, receive, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency? So this is really showing the adoption and the recognition that a lot of people want for some reasons, but also now it's being on your tax forms, which can be a little bit scary. So countries supporting cryptos, you have Germany. So if you hold Bitcoin in Germany for a year or more, you won't have to pay any taxes, regardless of how much money you make selling your, for example, Bitcoin. You do not pay capital gains as long as you held your coins for a period exceeding 12 months. So once you buy it, you wait that 12 months. If that price skyrockets, you get out, no taxes, no worries. So Singapore, so both individuals and corporations and corporates who hold Bitcoin or other digital assets for a long-term investment are not taxed in Singapore, simply because capital gain tax does not exist in the state itself. So natively there, that does not exist, and so they're not going to apply it to crypto. So Portugal, in Portugal, tax authorities waived all tax on cryptocurrency trading and transacting. So meaning that individuals do not have to pay tax, or pay capital gains tax or value added tax, which is VAT, when buying or selling BTC, Bitcoin, or other digital assets. So it's completely waived entirely. Malaysia. So there are no capital gains tax in Malaysia. So cryptocurrency trades involving cash or other digital assets are not taxed in the Southwest Asian country. However, this is likely to change if Bitcoin is recognized as legal tender in Malaysia, as there is rumored in the local press in the past few months. So depending on that, the capital gains tax, it will change the terminology if it's recognized as legal tender. So Switzerland, one of Europe's crypto havens, and very well recognized, qualified individuals that buy, sell, or hold cryptocurrencies for personal benefit are not required to pay tax on their capital gains. So if I'm 100% sure, that does not apply to like corporations and stuff like that. It's just for the personal control. And Malta, like we talked about earlier, this is blockchain island, does not tax long-held digital currencies, either for capital gains or VAT. So however, crypto trades executed within the day are considered similar to day trading in stocks or foreign exchange. But Malta is pretty much one of the most lenient when it comes to that. So thank you guys so much for joining. And in this slideshow, in this webinar, we kind of covered over the benefits again of the cryptocurrencies. The cost reduction, the risk, the convenience, and the tracking and stuff like that. The relation between the cashless economy and stuff where you have like e-commerce and cryptocurrency, and how those are related and how those will change in the future. Some of the how cryptocurrency works. Another quick overview, shows how that transaction is requested, and then it needs to be authorized, and then just transferred to another node and stuff like that. And then the payment occurs and stuff like that. And how some of the advantages and disadvantages of crypto, showing how it can't be manipulated by governments, and it's completely anonymous, and the mechanism is really complex, prevents duplication of creation of fake currency, and how the fee for crypto transactions is pretty low compared to other digital currencies such as credit cards. And some of the disadvantages as well, showing with crypto being ever changing, it might not hold as much of a consistent value as some of the fiat currencies that we've discussed, being very new, and how it's still being adapted and adopted for more mainstream purposes there, and how it's not necessary, it's not like Amazon where you can cancel that that payment. With crypto, once that payment is sent, you are not going to be able to get it back. It's just the nature of it, and that's how the reality of it is, and how the being stored, wherever you store those coins, if it's not secure, it can be damaged and stuff like that. But that's also fiat currency as well. It can be destroyed and whatnot. Discuss some of the reasons why to own a cryptocurrency, and did we discuss the transparency, the worldwide payment of it, the applications of it being private and secure and fraud protected, as well as some of the low fees that go along with worldwide payment and sending funds between countries. It's really big, and it provides a lot of people a lot of benefits. We looked into some of the major retailers diving into crypto and it being more and more adopted every day as a form of payment, and where crypto comes in terms of being an online method of payment, and just some of the how the use of it represents the facilitation of the movement with comparatively low transaction costs. So some of the benefits again there. Looking at some of the payments and taxes on crypto, calculating your crypto transactions and how it's looked at as a property more than a physical, excuse me, physical money itself. And we also looked into a lot of the progressive the countries out there supporting crypto technology and adapting it and using it every day, and how it's taxed there. So I wanted to thank you guys so much, and we'll be back next week with another more of a probably video format of a look into more crypto. So thank you so much, and have a good rest of your night.